Alright, well, let's try this. See how it goes. Alright. Alright, this is like, what do you want to call this? What do you want to call these? Dailies? Personally, I'd love to do this daily. So, this is a VOD review for somebody who was on the forums of Reddit, and it was like Ark0, ARKO, or 0, and I'm just going to do this and just to try to help, and hopefully he gets something out of it. So what we have in front of us is our player here. You can see my icon. Cool. Ark0 wanted some suggestions for his at silver rating 1700 Tracer and Pharah on Dorado, and I'm someone who around the same level. I only hit gold. From this last season, I went from 700 to 2000 rating solo queuing, and hopefully some of this insight I give him. And actually, I have like suggestions and specific ways of how he can better himself or whatever. Okay, so let's just get into it. And let me close this because I'm nervous and I don't really ever do this, the stream thing or anything on camera. So first off, Ark0 or Ark of No. I thought your tracer play was actually really good. I wrote down notes for you, and the biggest thing first off and foremost is let's split it up into two different aspects. One's your offense, which was the tracer, and the Pharah was the defense. Okay, your tracer play, you should give yourself a pat on the back. You did well. Honestly, you had good positioning. There's a couple of things I wrote down that you can take into account to improve on. But honestly, I saw that you were kind of, and some of the people also on the forums were kind of critical. But for somebody who's at this certain rating of about 1700 silver, let's just say silver, okay, you did really well. Mechanics. I know everyone's worried, and you too. And I think in your post on Reddit, you were saying how that you get stressed out and stuff, and of the couple times you go from quick play to competitive, it feels stressful, and that's why I'm doing this, because I really wanted to pat you on the back and say, dude, our gal, you did really well on Tracer. Okay. Let's just go through this. First off, very first thing in here you can see is here's the comp. I'm going to play it with no sound first, or actually I'm going to play through this clip or this video with no sound, because there's something else I'm going to say after words about that as well, and that's nothing on you. It's more of just a good tip also for that, and pretty much to ignore the or one suggestion when you are stressed, or in my opinion in this elo, which I've been here, that's what I did all last season, is to hide the like chat in game, and you can do that by hitting /H and then enter, and what it'll do is, and the reason for doing that is that, and still stay in comms, still stay in voice chat in your head. You don't have to technically talk if you don't want to. That's fine. But the real reason of turning off the text portion of the game is, in this bracket, this tier of play, the majority of people who are toxic and stuff, they'll do it through chat, and it's not constructive, and all it's going to do is emotionally affect you. And it's better to honestly, like, if you want to talk to somebody or interact with anybody, do it through voice, and leave those people who are toxic and stuff out of your life, because you'll feel so much better. And honestly, that's what I did first, from 700 to 1500 at least, is I turned that off, and actually through my climb into gold, I did that as well, and my life was so much better. And I say that because you were affected by that halfway through this match. After your first round was of offense, you actually did really well. And okay, let me just go through and let's play it and get into it. Okay. Okay, so we're reviewing the tracer play. And first thing out, we got 30 seconds, right? Okay, so it was a really good. You picked. That's why I had it paused there. You can say I'm totally jittery, right? Is the comp. Um, I'm actually looking forward to making some videos or suggestions of like how to. And this is, I'm also going to give you a specific strategy on how to improve and what character we could have picked instead of Pharah for defense. That would have done a lot better. And just in this comp, by picking Tracer was really, really good in my opinion, along with the other people. And what I'm going to state why, and here's why, is because got this little tooltip thing. One of my favorite picks, and what I'm going to later suggest for defense on any like hybrid or whatever, I guess assault escort maps, is that you should try out in the future. I'm going to give you a specific example of after this is Winston, and this is actually one of my core suggestions for anybody who's trying to climb is to learn how to play Winston on defense of most maps, almost most maps, except for King of the Hill. King of the Hill, that's up to you what you want to play. And in this case, somebody had already picked Winston. Winston is very much works really, really well with Zarya. So here, even if these players aren't that great, this can be a very good combo. With you picking Tracer, here, it's actually a very, very good combo along with a Pharah. The Pharah doesn't necessarily have to be good. I mean, it goes really well also with Winston, who can dive, will dive, depending on who he is, hopefully, and doesn't die instantly. And with the help from Zenyatta, this is a wonderful composition. You kind of lucked out in that regard in that game, and I know that doesn't always happen. So I really like, if it was me in this composition and I was you, I would have picked Tracer. Would have been one of my picks. Personally, for me, another one would have been Genji, but it's a little more shaky, and that's just how, if I had felt warmed up, and me being kind of like trying to be a Genji main last season, I probably still would have picked Tracer. So I agreed on your pick, and I thought it was a wonderful pick. So let's go ahead and play it. And the next thing is pretty much, I liked how you started off. Your positioning where you went was great. That you took the high ground instantly, and luckily, as we'll see when this plays, that Winston instantly dived the high ground, and you followed up, and you guys instantly pushed back a couple of the Junkrat and got a kill on Mercy, which was great. You always want to, as a Tracer, that's like the next big thing is your target's priority should always be the healers in the background. Like their quote backline is their healers, because if your team has healers and they don't have healers, in any typical situation, you guys will win. So this is great. You guys push back, and you did really well here too. And I did want to stop this and say, okay, you got stuck there. That's fine. It happens to me everywhere. But before we went on anymore, I saw in a second here you got real low, and I was curious if you knew where the next. One of my notes here is actually that to find out where all the healing packs are, and it looked like to me throughout the map also that you. And this will come with time, right? But I just wanted to point out where the one is currently right here. The closest one is actually like on the first floor right here, down in this little archway, and it's just a 100 healing pack. That one's okay, and you actually pass by on the first level as you came up was another healing pack over there on the far building. So I just want to point that out. So that's just something you don't have to figure out now. If this ever happens again, you can drop down here and grab the healing pack if you want, and go out front or come back up the back. I think there's actually one straight. I think there's actually a 200 back this way, like back behind you. I love this. Love this arrow. Sorry, this is a little like. I think there's actually a mega back here around the corner. If you go a little, maybe 15 meters more to the right or something, I think there's a mega, which is a 200 there as well. So that might even be even closer than the one down there. Okay, let's play it. So boom, healing packs. That's where they are. Oh, help! Happens to everyone, right? So you go in here, and I really liked here that you meleeed for the instant for the kill. I don't remember if you were doing that later on. And this is all good. So you're pressuring with the team. You know, oh, you see the Junkrats, kind of the problem. The DPS, great. You guys all push in, awesome, right? You dodge the, yeah, all good stuff. I think here was the next point that I had, that you guys, I think it's just you and Zarya against Mercy, and the gamble for me is one thing is, do you kill the Mercy or do you push the payload, kind of thing, and I think you opt to try to kill the Mercy, which is totally fine, and I totally approve of that. But if you see at this time too, I counted it, it's about 10 seconds that no one's pushing the payload too, and by that time you guys could have had it almost up here. And I know that's coming into like a, I think you did the right thing. You kill the healer, then push the payload when the people don't have their healer, right? So it's been a little bit since I rewatched this, so I think you did well. And killing the Mercy, awesome. And here, oh, okay, so you know where that health pack is. Good. There's another mega that's far to your left. That's adjacent to the little like second level building that has the window. There's a mega way back there, and there's another. Yeah. Anyways, this is fine. This is great. You did awesome. And here, I thought this was wonderful too. And I think this was the next point I actually had was, okay, so you almost have your ult. You almost have your ult here. You can see it here. And everyone's respawning, or it's the Zarya and the Mercy by themselves, I believe. And they push back, and you guys go in for the kill. Okay, yeah, what I was going to say is a little farther. Okay, so here, it's when you have your pulse bomb, and you see that there's people over in that corridor, like the Tracer, the Reinhardt, okay? And here you actually get a stick on the Zarya, I believe, and it helps kill the Reinhardt and Zarya, okay? But my question here, which is, was, would it have been better to stick the Mercy that you guys were not, no one was really going for? Like, you remember how you killed the Mercy twice already? You know she has not rezzed anybody yet. And people are gonna have, because typically at the any point, you know, any of the 3 points, typically everyone's gonna have like an ult by that time, right? And you guys haven't seen really any ults. So in my mind, I would be think, oh, Mercy has res. Oh, Mercy has res. So I should probably kill Mercy first. And which, you know, that's just something to point out. Okay, it's a lot easier said than done, right? That's why I always sometimes agree with you, and sometimes go for the juicier targets that are just easier to hit, because you get, well, you already had your pulse bomb round. Oh, that's the other part, was a last kicker for killing the Mercy first. Priority of killing Mercy over the Reinhardt is that at this elo, something to think about is that a lot of people, I mean, you would agree that most compositions have a Mercy in it, right? And that's simply because they're new to the game, and they're just new, okay? And when they get pressured, they kind of freak out. And guess what do Mercies do when they get pressured? They fly to somebody else, right? Well, what happens if you stick the Mercy and she freaks out that you're getting attacked, or she's running away from the pulse bomb? But if you stick her and she flies to somebody, then it's an instant double kill, or triple kill in this instance. And you could have done that, but also taken out the Mercy. And All you would have had to do was try to kill the Mercy. You know, so that's one of those what ifs things. But in my if it was me here, I would have tried to kill the Mercy first, or stick the Mercy and let her fly off and kill her tank. But so some food for thought. So all right, dang it. Where are we? Oh, did I done and goofed. All right, we'll just. Okay, so that's where she rezzed. That's after you killed the Reinhardt and she just re-rezzed, which is fine. It's great. And something else I'm going to point out, I'm actually going to just make a video for, is that to try to, I probably figured you do this, but I think it's something that anybody who's new at Overwatch should try to do is always like check their health, like every 5 seconds or something. One of those things, just like in StarCraft 2, is you try to check your health and also check the kill feed in the top right, saying who's dying and stuff. This in this instance, you can see people are just dying, so you just help with your team and you push in, and you're doing right. Kind of go for the squishies first, or go for the, which is great, and all this is good, and all the blinks are great. I think this was the part where you get real risky and you had like 40 HP. Obviously everyone's a one hit, so you go in for the kill, which is great too because they're on a longer spawn than you are. So I thought that was great. Risky. Maybe not do it in the next time. Maybe just back off, wait for the push because they're gonna back off anyways. Just let them back off, and because if they don't disengage, they're gonna die either way. If not through you in a few seconds, through one of your teammates in a few seconds, like the Winston, who could literally just jumped in and killed all of them. I thought this was all great. I love that the Zarya keeps bubbling you too. And like this is all good. Sure, the shatter not getting shattered sucks. That was great. Like I said, there's nothing really bad about any of this. The best part about it is that your composition really works well. You're getting shields. You have a double shield with the Winston too. Yeah, I mean the hardest thing, like, there's not a lot to say here because it looks like they swapped to a Pharah from something else, from a Junkrat, I guess. But I honestly think winning the ground battle is still a good thing. Yes, you could have focused the Pharah, but the biggest main thing was killing the healer. And what I was going to say is your positioning is great. This is great too. You're flanking the far right, which is great. You're finding that where's their damage. The DPS is the Pharah, which is great because there's not a lot of people who can kill her. Awesome. But the biggest thing is you were trying to focus the healers, and in the current composition, they're really sticking with their tanks. It's kind of almost like a death ball. So playing on the ground close like you were is just gonna honestly happen. If you had in the previous fight gone up there, you necessarily wouldn't have. I mean, you could have flanked far around the backside, and something you may try in the future. But it's all good because the biggest thing is, as a group, you were doing well. It's like here, this is where I'd like to see you swap to focusing the healers, the Ana and the Mercy, now that they have 2 healers, I believe, instead of 1. But to be real honest, like I think 1 or 2 of the guys kind of like go cancerous on you after this round. That you guys didn't do all 3 points. Don't worry about that at this elo. Honestly, you guys did really well. First push, and in my belief, and what I'm going to do after we watch this is actually we're going to go over some of the review of one of my games, which is in no way perfect, but I think you win the battle on this map, mostly on defense. And I'm going to give you a specific strategy on how to do that, and something you can go and practice, and literally just it'll be nice. And what it is playing as Winston. But this is like I said, there's not like you're doing really well. You know, don't give yourself. Your tracking is actually really good. Oh, and your tracking's fine. Your tracking's really good actually. Yes, you can get better at different things, but there's nothing bad. This is all good stuff as a Tracer player. Like switching to Rhine here, honestly, I would have stayed Tracer. I know you're probably stressing out that oh it's overtime and stuff like that. You know, oh we gotta get the point. But honestly, Tracer still is a good pick because she's elusive. The biggest thing is she doesn't have to be. You know, she's self-reliant pretty much. Like if you get low, you can do your reverse recall or whatever it's called, or you can blink in and go get yourself a heal, and not the healers don't have to rely you don't have to rely on your healers, so they have more time to heal somebody else, like the main tanks or somebody else, And this is the point where I think you should /H hide chat, is so that people aren't toxic like this, and I think they go into. I haven't listened to this on voice chat because of that exact same reason, because I don't. Just people are toxic, and unfortunately they're going to be toxic at literally every tier, all the way up into Grandmaster is going to be toxic. But so it's up to you if you want to stay in voice. I personally like voice when I feel in the mood, but text I will definitely turn off. Unless okay, well let's just go on. You got the point on that. So what I was going to say about the Pharah is that let's actually go back and look at the composition. Okay. Your composition, here's your composition. Okay. This, even with a Mercy and Zen, if it was me, I would have picked Winston here. For the sole reason that he, and this is where my suggestion is for picks, and this is where he can be super strong on this map, is full holding the first point with 2 tanks, and you guys actually have you would have 3 tanks, a soldier, and then a Zen and a Mercy, which would totally work too if this was a Winston, if you were a Winston. And the reason the Winston is because he's a huge HP. He's a tank. Okay, he's mobile, and he's very distracted. He literally just pokes and gets their attention and lets the other people kind of clean up. And honestly, he can at this elo too. He's super destructive, and you can actually play pretty aggressive with him. And yeah, let's just go through your clip. And you're kind of like me when I kind of don't warm up, is that Pharah, if you I think you ask for suggestions, because I see on all your videos that you do play a little bit of everything like me. You kind of flex a little bit of everything. Now this is personal. Like if you personally enjoy playing Pharah kind of thing, then play Pharah, okay? Or throughout the season, what I was going to say is, I think on a defense you should pick up Winston. Tracer is still a very good pick if you enjoy playing Tracer. I personally think you did really well on him. Okay. It's okay if they stress you out. Tracer's a really hard player. But the biggest thing with Tracer is also, I see your ping too here is over 100, and I think at sometimes it can shoot up to 200 and stuff. And being somebody who has, I think it was like a month or two ago, I had some ping issues myself and was playing at something about 220. Okay, and so I know I was playing on a wireless connection actually. Um, but I'm gonna just pause this really quick and say that is that there are characters that work a lot better, like suggested characters for a higher ping that's not like if you don't have it below subpar of like 40 ping. Hit scans for some reason, and I guess my question actually is to you is on your end, if you play like soldier, um, is it hard to aim? Does the enemy glitch at all at times, or is it? And this is something I'd like just feedback if you have the time, is just to kind of get from my personal experience when I was playing on a wireless internet connection that had about 100 plus ping, 150 ping that fluctuated too. Don't get me wrong. I would get a lot of like server adjustments, and so people would kind of dart, and it wasn't fluid. I couldn't really aim. I was just curious if it was just me. It might just be honest me from a lot of the footage you're putting out, but just curious. Um, I think what I was getting around to is that when I was playing on a higher ping, uh, I was that's the first time I actually picked up, for whatever reason, Tracer plays well on it. Don't ask me why. And then Winston was my go-to at that time because he wasn't hard to aim, and he was tanky enough, and he could get out of you know bad situations easy and still live and still carry. He had I definitely glitched where but yeah. So what I was going to say is I think Tracer and Winston are still great legit picks, even if you're ping in a different country. I believe you said um, isn't perfect or whatever like that. But I'm gonna actually reverse this and rewatch this. Personally, I think Pharah on defense on this isn't the greatest pick. I would have rather seen like like a Winston or a Roadhog or a Diva even. Um, a Diva works really well too because not only is mobile. With all this, you could have actually got a lot closer. I think that's what I was gonna rewind it for, is that you could have literally and instead of falling down to the ground, which is to fall onto the the top of this building, or back where the Junkrat initially was when you first came up as the Tracer, just so you can keep your height, and for some reason if they fall down like this, then you can shoot down at them and you actually have a better angle, especially as for like projecting where they're gonna go. Because if like the Pharah goes up, he can only go up in one direction. When he uses his boost, he can't evade you, kind of thing. So if you have the higher position, um, no matter what, you should always try to take it. So that's something. Yeah, there's a lot. That's the really cool thing about this game, is that each character has kind of like an untold combo that they can do. Like, did you know, for instance, that Pharah actually has a double jump? It's or I quote it as a double jump, but or like a rocket. It's a rocket jump. Is that if you literally stood, like if you were here and you went out the store, instead of using like your boosters, your left shift or your E, if you actually just shot your a normal rocket straight down at your feet, um, you can do this in spawn, and you take damage, but it actually gives you a little boost, so you get about 10 meters into the air. And if you do that first before then using your boosters, your shift, it actually it makes you go up even higher and lets you stay up in the air like forever, pretty much forever. And that's why a lot of people have a mercy healing them. That's like the mercy Pharah combo kind of thing, is because then it lets them not like one do more damage and keep them high healed up, longer, but also lets them get higher up into the air too. And that's what. So that's, you should go and try that. And anytime you ever have like a mercy healing you as a Pharah, definitely use that double jump or the rocket jump, as you, if you want to call it, before using your boosters or your shift, and you'll get a lot higher. It's crazy. I always saw that, but yeah, you'd be like another 20 meters up in the air right here. But I really liked that you were trying to kill the Pharah. If you weren't at this point doing well at killing a Pharah, just win then the ground battle. You know, focus the healers. I see you're focusing the Roadhog, which you need to always be aware of. But in my opinion, you should just outrange him and kill the, or get in the face of the healers. Like literally go down like where you are and get in the healers and kill the Ana or whatever, and then go for the Roadhog, because he's just an alt battery. Is really what he is. But the problem with him is that he can hook you out of the air and then one shot you. So instead of going for the, yeah, I'd do this. This is what I would have done from the start: is trying to kill the Ana and the Pharah, or the Ana and the Mercy. And oh, the other thing here is that I was aware that the note I had was that I was aware you weren't getting any healing, like at all, on Pharah. And I see that you, because you still have chat open, that you don't have a hotkey for need healing. And that's the other thing I wrote down, is to make a hotkey, or to what I personally use is I use three, I guess, line, what do they call it, like word lines or whatever. One's for my status of my alt. I key to Z. Z is in Zulu. And then for the X key next to it, I key healing, like I need healing kind of thing. And then for C, C is in cat, or Alpha Bravo, whatever. Charlie, C is in Charlie. I key the thank you line, voice line, or whatever you call it. So those are the big things that I hotkey. There's a couple other little hotkeys I have at the end, we'll say, that something that may help you well, like also. But let's just get through this. So the Pharah, you did real. I think you did fine. It sucked that, honestly, if you're playing Pharah without heals, it's kind of hard, like extremely hard, especially going against a Pharah that, like, you pretty much have to outplay the Pharah with a Mercy if you're gonna go Pharah with no heals. Which, personally, at this elo, I do not think you should try until you're like at least in Masters. Like, it's, I mean, it can happen if you like pretty much just play Pharah, but yeah. Oh, right there. That's the other thing, is that, so you tried to use your like right click, or your whatever the alternative, like your the second one, this one, that actually does not hurt. You can't, don't ever try to use that against somebody aerially, like in the battle. All that's gonna do is I've personally have never landed that like on them, and I've never seen it landed mid-air on them. That would be better. You That'd be better saved for your own repositioning. Like if you both are like flying, okay, and you get real close to, let's say, this wall that's right here. Like your back's against the wall, you know, and he's shooting you and you're shooting him, and you get real low. I'd rather see you use that, like flip around and hit the wall, so then it boosts you like away from him, or in some other direction, like if you need to retreat or go in, kind of thing. That's what all the like professional people and pretty much use it for, is for repositioning of themselves, because that's not really going to do any damage to him. I'm honestly not even I'm pretty sure, I think it only does like 25 damage to him, which is the same thing as meleeing him, which you could do in midair, by the way, too, um, by just repositioning, like by just jumping into him, and sometimes even getting closer to like another Pharah just to land the 2 rockets you need to kill him. Um, can work in your way, in your favor, but the biggest, the best strategy for killing a Pharah versus like Pharah v Pharah is to actually get above him and then be able to shoot down at him, because you know how Pharahs, they move back and forth, right? It's very very uncommon psychologically, like literally, that people will not only move, they only move in one lateral direction, so they'll move back and forth this way, but if you turn him sideways, or like if you get above him, you'll only see him move like this. He won't be moving like, a figure eight kind of stuff, so he'll be a lot easier to hit theoretically if you're above him, or below him technically, but it's even shooting up is a lot harder than shooting down. Okay, we can all pretty much agree to that. So because you just have better view of him from above, and he has less of you. It takes his eye away from everybody else, endangering everybody else. And if he's just shooting up at you, well, behind you there's just open sky. Behind him there's people, right? So let's say you do miss him, you may hit somebody else. So always, is so pretty much using this to reposition yourself, using your boosters obviously just to stay in the air and try to land on any second level, like this second level here. If you needed to go down, instead of going down here, try to land here and then boost yourself back up to get even higher. But I thought it was okay. I think this is okay for, but yeah, back to the whole thing of, I think if you were a different character, you would have done better. And you would have done better. You would have done a lot better if you had heals too. But unfortunately, you weren't getting them like at all. So that's just unfortunate. That's really what it is. I liked here that you swapped and started going for the ground battle. That was great. Sometimes in this elo too, because obviously he's not hitting you either. Okay, so he's not hitting you either, right? Is that to win the ground war and then win the game kind of thing, and because no one else is killing you either, right? So just kill everybody else who's super squishy, like the Ana, the Mercy, leave the Reinhardt for last if you need to, and then you guys can all clobber them together, right? I like this part that you actually ooh. Yeah, I like the part here that you actually didn't go through the TP, because you still have enough ample time to get back and stuff like that, and it saves a res, or it saves a teleport. This is a great. That actually might have been a great shatter, if you could have picked off the Mercy as well, or not a shatter. It would have been a great ult if you knew you were going to get the Mercy res. Like, alright, so obviously here we lose. Okay, you still did really well. We're just going to kind of skip to it, okay? This is your Pharah stats, which, to be honest, like, at this point doesn't really matter. I think the problem, it wasn't only you. It was also that one of your healers swapped to Symmetra for some reason, when they should have stayed a second healer. That just wasn't cool. But even more so, a reason to go either a hybrid character or the Winston, which is great because he has, his ult. He has like 500 HP or something, 500 or 600 HP, and then his ult would give him 1,000. And that's why I don't. And that's what I'm going to pull up after this. So instead of like a Pharah, hello, this is your page. I'm going to pull up. This is mine. I think this game's at like 1700. I don't know. It's it's something like that. It's something very similar. I'm pretty sure. It's at like 17 or 16, 16 to 1800, something like that. Okay. And so let's just play this. I think I'm going to actually. So in my games I talk a lot. I was worrisome of um, letting you listen in, but I think it's okay. I'm going to point out a couple things that I personally I'm okay. Well, first off, before we start that, another point is I'm all over the place, so I apologize, but kind of also nervous. So one of the big core things, so to recap, I think your tracer did really well. I think the Pharah, a different pick, um, to instead of a Pharah like a Winston, which I'm going to show you an example of here, or a Devo or a Roadhog even would have been a better pick. And the reason for is that the Diva and the Winston both have shields or something to negate damage, and then they also have like vertical move. They can move. They can reposition themselves very well. They also have very destructive ults, and they're very their accuracy. The skill rating for them isn't as high as it is on Pharah, and I think the strength of Pharah, a good Pharah player, actually isn't really landing his rockets, but it's actually his positioning. It's all about his positioning, and that's something I would suggest. I can give you a couple names of people, or I'm going to try to make videos eventually in the future of higher skilled examples on specific maps and offense and defense of good Pharah play. But I think for now, like you should go with like your tracer, and I'm gonna try to go through all your videos and then give you a couple suggestions. See, I haven't watched them all, but give you a couple of suggestions and maybe from your playstyle what you would preferably try. But I'm going to give you a couple suggestions of characters to try to pick up and master ore, and one like number one to me would be Winston. And this is and the reason again, I'm sorry I'm going in circles, is that in this specific elo of silver to gold, even in bronze, is that he's extremely strong. People do not understand how to deal with him. And the other thing is, to deal with a Winston, you have to have very good accuracy, headshot accuracy, which is not prevalent in this bracket at all. And if you play your cards right, if you play the Winston that I'm going to try to show you here, of always positioning yourself on the high ground first, so that you can engage by just dropping down, like just by falling off, and saving your jump out to escape, and cover your tracks using your shield, or using your barrier, to stay in the fight longer before you jump out. You will be named unkillable, and you will single-handedly like carry the game. That's what definitely I saw where I kind of like plateaued and started getting, kind of going in up and down, a couple, 2 to 300 rating every couple days, until I started playing Winston on defense, and then it progressively just went up. Obviously, there's a learning curve, but there are a couple things here I'm going to show you and point out, and then afterwards just give you like his secret combo thing, that if you learn how to do it, which just practice makes better, right? Is try to play around on. He'll feel clunky and stuff for the first week or so of play. It depends on how much you play, but it's a very rewarding experience to single-handedly just full hold the team on pretty much all defense on any kind of like escort or 2 CP map. I play Winston if I want to just full hold them. And so, okay, so we're just gonna start this, and I think I chat too much in this first bit, but let's see if I can hear this. I think I get on the Junkrats. Oh, we didn't go over the comp. No, this is sorry. I apologize. So we just attacked and got 3. What I was going to point out is the composition. Okay. So we have the one healer, which is a Mercy. Oh, a surprise, right? We always said there's a Mercy literally in like every single composition at this level, okay? So you have a single Mercy healer. Okay, it's doable, right? Best thing in my mind is that there's another tank, okay? This is great to me because not only, okay, if you have a single healer here, we have a support that can be, I believe this person goes shields. She goes teleporter first. She goes teleporter first, but that's fine. It's a support character. If she plays her cards right, and doesn't really die much, she's doing great. She's just giving us more shields, right? The diva here is really strong because it's pretty much going to negate any kind of projectile damage, and if there is an Ana healer, a good diva will literally make a Ana player completely useless, and that's something why I think diva in this elo is really strong. It's not only that, but there's so many projectile people that soldier, Pharah, Junkrat, you name it, Reinhardt's projectile, everybody and so diva is great in that, as long as she doesn't stand in front of a Zarya. That's the other thing is divas don't get is that they can't block Zarya's beam, like her left click. So you can take up her right clicks, but not her left clicks. So okay, so this composition is fine. We don't really have any kind of like a soldier project, like a hit scan quote if they had a Pharah, but that's okay. You know why? Because at this elo, actually Winston is a very good Pharah killer, especially if he stays on the high ground, because he can literally just jump up in the air if he times it right, and this is something you need to practice. I don't think we see a lot of it in this game, but you single-handedly can kill the Pharah. It's quite funny. If he has a Mercy healer, it's just a nuisance, honestly, but it's not the biggest deal, okay? Because why? Because typically the Pharah and the Mercy at this elo don't always stay up in the air because they're not as good yet, right? So you can use that as your advantage. The very first thing I do here is I take the high ground. I always sit up here typically, like right here. And the reason why is, and I try to hold my bubble, and
really just distracting a lot. So
there we go. Here's me talking.
Room to just kill everybody. Please take the high ground, jump.
See, I'm picking on the Junkrat, which I regret doing. Actually, this is the first mistake I actually do that I don't do anymore. Is I jumped in when I jumped in instantly. This I suggest you do not do. What I would have done instead is let them actually move up a little and come up behind them. Like if you want to drop in behind them, not in front of them. And the reason why is because the healers are going to, the back line, your healers for the enemy are going to be in the back, right? And so what you should do is go like covertly and drop in the backside. Like figure out where they're coming from, figure out where the healers are, and then drop in where they don't see you, and then just start lightning gunning them. And they'll get to about half HP before they even notice you. And by that time, you can actually drop your bubble around them. And the reason for doing that is your bubble then will cut off any healing to any tanks in the front that your team is attacking. So not only you're killing their back line, but now their front line, any DPS or tanks are getting no healing whatsoever. And before they know it, you've typically already killed both healers and are now going in, and by that time you can jump back out and reset, and then your other team can actually push in and get the other people halfway down. So this I didn't think was that great. All I did here was take damage and give them alt charge.
Junkrat, take the high ground, buddy. They're flanking you back left.
So here I actually pointed out that I saw a Reaper coming around the top left that you initially did as the tracer, and I should have backed off and not, like, I was being a little toxic myself. Future, I've learned, not to do this.
There's a Reaper coming on the second level above us.
I'm trying to call out where he is. I was saying second level, like top left. Yeah.
Okay.
I end up actually going up there and killing him eventually myself, because this is actually kind of super dangerous to do. Getting in the face of Reaper on any character you do not want to do, and that's and I knew also if the Junkrat would have done that, he would have instantly died. So I went up there to try to kill him. The reason why is Reaper is the #1 DPS per second character in the game. Roadhog, if he hits you straight in the face into your head, he can do like 450 damage, but it's over like 2 seconds. And Reaper can do 300 damage per second. So he has 8 clips or whatever, and he hits hard. You can obviously see I'm at 20. I think I go down to like 8, 3 health. So I just died pretty much. But because I still have my jump up and I backed off and jumped out and got heals, I lived, right? So I wait till I get pretty much re-healed and go back in. He didn't take the pack. You see that? This is where you were, and I re-engaged him, and he actually could have walked back. He could have walked back here and got the healing, the mega healing pack. That was a 200 HP healing pack. That it's kind of like around the corner, I believe. If it's, I'm pretty sure there's one there. I'm pretty sure it's been a little bit since I've gone over there. That's actually a great Pharah. There's a wall you can go over as a Pharah and actually flank around behind them from the Kappa, the first point where this is on the map. There's actually, that's where going over this wall right here, like this way, would lead you, and it's actually a great Pharah flanking maneuver you can do if you have a Mercy with you too. The two of you kind of, it's kind of a gamble, but if you can land your shots, you can just like completely destroy them. And yeah, it's one thing you can definitely give a try. But he should have healed. He was bad. He should have dropped down there or gone this way and got the healing pack, because he just came back up here with literally like 70 health. And I think, I don't know if I actually did the Winston like secret combo is you jump up and you come down and knock your knockback or whatever, your ground slam, whatever. If you ground slam and melee him at the same time, it's an instant 75 damage. And then you lightning gun him. You can pretty much like not one shot, but you can 1v1 anyone in the game easily at the CELO. I say that within the count that you use your shield if you need it. And like for Reaper, I would use it early, but most people like Widows or anything, like it doesn't matter. Anything squishy, anything 200 HP, Reaper's 250 HP. You'll destroy him with your barrier. It's better to use your barrier than not. Safe than sorry, right? Gives you more HP. So okay, so the Reaper's dead, so I go after the soldier back on the high ground. And you see I kind of dive a little deep here, but I'm using my shield. I think I even point out that, I think the Devo just ran in to 3. She's not as tanky as, like, she is, but isn't as tanky as me. She can just get hooked right there. She doesn't have a barrier like me that She got down to literally 1 HP. And I keep watching my health right here. That's why I kept backing up and not using my berry, because I knew. And I also, the other thing is I was watching my ult. Do you see that? I constantly watch my HP and my ult charge, and who in the top right corner is dying. That's kind of the few couple main things here. Oh, I'm sorry. This clip is so long. But instantly I used it. Oh, and then here, what happened was the Roadhog solo ulted me, which sucked, but at the same time, kind of a good thing that he's ulting literally, what, 10 meters outside of his front. And I already know that my teammates already have, well, one, have a teleporter up. They have ults as well. So I'm being toxic towards my Junkrat, still not taking the top. I just know he's gonna get one shot, but I'm being toxic. So that's something I personally have to work on. Please don't be me. What I do here is I hear that there is I think the Reaper's top right. I point it out, and then I go take care of it.
The higher you are, the better you are.
So, and yeah, he's going after the teleporter, so I go kill him. Right? You can see that they just took out 2 people. And I think actually this is where, yeah, no, everyone's still alive here. Yeah, they just re-rezzed our team after dying.
Somebody please kill the junk.
Junk's top, like right, you see, right, he's standing right there, right on the edge of where he just, and I'm sorry about my quality. My video is really terrible. I didn't really think, this was for my own recording, and I wasn't really planning on sharing this, but so, and in the future it's gonna be higher quality. But he's standing right here on the edge of the second level, right in the corner, and I can see him. So I actually go ahead and dive him and kill him. But I think he gets 1 or 2 people here. So I kill him. I know that somebody just died. Nope. No, this is where we just die. And I go on the Roadhog instead of the Mercy, because I know. I think she already rezzed. I was just going for all charge, honestly. It's really what I was doing. It kind of.
Screw up, guys! If you're coming back, everyone's behind. Just go right.
There, I saw that one. All of our people are behind, and I think they even point out that you guys are too far ahead. But I realized too that my ult's about up. I almost have my ult. Literally, I'll have the ult in about 5 seconds of just sitting here. So I go ahead and sit here inside my barrier, safe as sound. Okay, and I know they're gonna respawn. So I instantly pop my barrier or my ult here. Now I have 1,000 HP. So go ahead and kill 2 people. Right? Boom. There's their DPS. They're dead. Pop this, and I actually, because I popped this early, I know that the Roadhog's to the left of me. I know he has hookup too. Like, he's just gonna have it because he hasn't used it in the last 8 seconds, which is the cooldown. So as I whittle away this Mercy, he goes and does that. So look at there. I almost did a quad kill right there. And where do I go to reset it? Back on my little perch, high ground. Take the high ground again. Because the other thing about this composition, the enemy composition, is no one on their composition can come up here. That's the great thing about Winston, is no one on their composition can come up here and like fight me. Junk can, but he'll instantly die. You know what I mean? Like, I can just sit there and kill him all day. So there's literally no one can come up here. Reaper can come up there, but by the time, and at this point I call it that Reaper. You can see that's one thing I don't know if you do or do not do, is I'm aware of people's ults. Like, when's the last time they use it? Have they used it? You know. And I typically do that. I go off of pretty much my own ult, And I look at I hit tab and see if anyone's on fire. That typically, they're going to be a lot closer to having an alt than me. Or they're going to a lot better chance of having an alt than the other people if they're on fire, because that means they've been alive longer, getting more kills, doing more damage.
Okay, contest.
And this is the end. This is where we just went and clean people. I think I die. Everyone's still here. I know they have res.
Resident, if you have it.
And then we win.
Go for the soldier first.
Go for the soldier because I haven't seen a soldier ult. And then we finish off the Reaper and yada yada. We win.
Good job.
Okay. So pretty much to recap is that I think Winston on Dorado, any kind of escort defense should be your number one pick to learn and pick up. And just in doing that, you will start winning a lot more maps. And the fun thing about him is that he's goods and bads about him is that he's easy to aim. Okay, he has a lot of HP. His ult gives him he becomes a super tank with his ult, so he's pretty much just there to be a distractor. Okay, but he can also environment kill people, or as you saw, I think I killed 2 people by just knocking them into a corner into a corner of a room and just knocking them to death. The Reaper and the Junkrat. That's literally all I did. And then I could still get out and still had 500 HP or something. And there's a lot. His ult I think it's every 1 or 2 seconds he gets another jump, and that learning how many more jumps you have before you come out of your ult is actually really good. And I think there's even a timer that goes around your ultimate charge that lets you know. And at the very end of your ult, this is just stuff to kind of know about Winston, kind of more advanced stuff that if you learn to play around, it can be super strong. Is that at the very end of your ult, if you jump before and are mid-air when your ult ends, you can actually do another double jump. It'll reset into your normal jump, and so you'll get another double jump and have your shield. For some reason, like if you're 10 HP, you can double jump, come out of your ult, shield yourself midair, and double jump again. And as you're retreating, your shield will actually fall with you, so that no one can actually kill you. And so it's there's just lots of advanced stuff. He's a simple accuracy character to learn because he's just a tank, but he's very, very complex. And actually, a lot of people in the community who are competitive, who get paid to do this, actually believe that Winston is one of the hardest to learn because it's all about positioning. And my golden rule, honestly, is to rewatch how I engage every time, as I'm always on the high ground and I jump down, or I'm always on the high ground and I fall off. I don't jump. I don't use my jump. I drop down and save my jump to get out. And if you can learn that, like one basic thing, to drop down, use your cannon for a little bit, then use your barrier after they start noticing you, and keep using your cannon, and then jump out, that in itself will win you games. Like literally, because all you're going to be doing is poking them and then jumping out and then poking them and distracting them while your other team getting their Reinhardt to turn his shield and stuff like that, or turn around, drop a shield, and try to swing at you, and you're just flanking him, and you guys will win like like two out of every 3 times. And full holding will become a lot more common with you on a lot more maps, on 2 CPU maps significantly. I can, in the future, if you're interested, pull up another one. I have another clip of myself full holding on Volskaya Industries as Winston. I'm gonna put this on YouTube, and hopefully this can help you or somebody else too. and hopefully with better quality and all that stuff, and hopefully with better, talks. But that's what I want to do for your first video, is pretty much say that you did really well for your tracer. The Pharah, yeah, I think the Pharah was okay, but there could have been a better pick, and definitely go give this Winston a shot. Biggest things with Winston is, remember, take the high ground, drop in, use your jump to escape. Try to flank behind. Always try to kill the healers first. The squishies, anything that's 200 HP or below, is what you need to be focusing first. Try to sneak up on them. So come up behind them, and then drop your shield when they notice you, and then stay a little longer. And when you kind of get a little bit low, then jump out. After you get half HP, then jump out. Reset, get a little bit heals, and go back in again. And by that time, you do that 2 or 3 times, you'll have your ult, or they'll be dead. And if you do that enough times, and don't, the number one thing that people do wrong at this elo is, or at any elo on Winston, is because they know he can dive. He has a jump to get in, to engage in, and what they do is they overextend. That is probably what I'm going to try to do a video on, of how not to do that. Like my Volskaya video is a better example of how to be very conservative with Winston, and to only engage when you need to, just to poke and then come back. And that's the biggest thing about him, is that he can get out, he can take the high ground, take the advantage of the high ground. And if no one else can contest you, you can sit up there and on certain maps and stuff, you can literally just, like Wolfsky, you can literally just sit there and lightning cannon them, and they can't do anything. Same thing with Hollywood. Like, if they don't have anyone who can come up, that has to walk up all the way around on the stairs and stuff, you can literally sit there and just lightning the entire 5-man team, and they can't do anything. And you can just get ult charge like super quick, and then also kill them. So it's if you're smart with like that, and it just takes practice and learning how far you can jump and stuff like that. There's actually a couple other things in here. There's a lot more with Winston. For instance, you can jump. There's variations of how far you can jump on Winston. You can actually jump quite close, and every time you land, you actually damage all the people, and that's a very big significant thing you're trying to do if you ever do jump and come back down onto and engage, is you want to try to land on somebody, because not only can you actually get environment knockoff kills, like into Ilios, the well pit, like the one with the pit, you can actually knock people into it, but it also does damage to them. And if you remember, if you do the jump and then land on them and melee them for a melee combo, it's 75 damage. That's a lot when somebody's 200 HP. So I'll just try to do that in a future video. And yeah, go and try this Winston thing. Rewatch this. I'm sorry if you want to just, if I'm talking too much, just watch the video. Just rewatch it, and hopefully this helps you, man. And I'm just gonna go on to the next one, and because this was really fun for me, I enjoyed actually trying to, I wanted to help. So I know there's not really any of these kind of videos out there for us little guys who aren't in top 500 kind of thing. So I enjoyed doing it. Yeah, keep posting if you like this. Definitely. I'm making my YouTube page. You could be my first follower, or whatever you call it, for subscribers. Is OverWatch-Zing, Z-I-N-G. It's 2 words. I'll actually pull it up. Let's see if we can pull it up. And I'm just gonna put this on my YouTube or whatever. And here's my page with zero whatevers. So this is the page. It's Overwatch space Zing. And I'm just trying to do this like little little guides for us bronze to master kind of stuff eventually when I get there, as I do them and learn and experience them, because I understand that the different tiers, and I know all the little guys out there currently are super 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 vague, and that their strategies also aren't don't necessarily work on the lower tiers, in silver and gold and stuff like that. And the other thing is, don't give yourself a lot of flack for um, not having great accuracy or anything like that, because let me tell you something, the difference between a bronze player and a plat player right now, because I currently play like plat players, just people, friends and stuff. um, I don't think until you get into about diamond that they're all about the same accuracy. It's all about your positioning. What's going to take you up in the rank is your positioning, and how your positioning, your awareness of like who's around you, who's alive or dead on your team and theirs, and your ult management of yourself and the enemy team. If you can combo, I mean, it's very rare even still for people to combo at our elo, but if you can be aware of the other teams, that hey, I have my ult kind of thing, they probably have theirs. Like if I have a Winston ult, just because I have it, that means it's about the time for them to get a soldier ult, or about the time for them to get a mercy ult. So if you're aware of that, and then you try to kill the healers first, pretty much, healers and soldier first, you can pretty much dominate a lot of things, specific DPS. So go out, try this Winston strategy on Dorado the next time you do it, and looking forward to watching your next video. Alright, thanks. This is Zing at OverWatch-Zing, signing out until next time. So take care, guys.